Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings. And today it's a slightly different one because I've got these two boxes which I'm going to start talking about. And they're different because they're not actually fountain pens because they don't have metal nibs, but they're astonishingly similar to fountain pens and I think quite staggering to look at. So, with no further ado, let's get on with it. I have to admit, this is one of those days where nothing's gone quite to plan. So I recorded this video about 4 hours ago, maybe 5, and I immediately hit a glitch because something went wrong with the memory card. So I've changed the memory card, reformatted the old one. That seems to be okay now, but in the process I've lost almost all of the video. So this is going to be a slightly disjointed one perhaps. Not to my usual standard, but apologies for that, I can't help it. So, today, Yookers. I wrote to them and contacted them because I was fascinated by the idea of their nibs. Because they have pens that look like fountain pens, they behave like fountain pens because they take universal cartridges and cartridge converters just like a fountain pen, but they have these rather wonderful fibre tips instead of ordinary metal nibs. Yookers are incredibly helpful. I was astonished by their kindness because they sent me not one pen, not 2 pens, but 3 pens. And I'm only going to give you a very quick run through. This, I believe, is called an Elios black grid. I haven't seen them for sale in the UK, so I can't give you a price. But good clip, really quite stiff. Push on, pull off cap, which also posts very efficiently. It has this lovely checkerboard black grid on it, which works extremely well. It is a very robust grip in your hand. It feels extremely good. So I like that. All of these Yookers pens have Yookers written around the band here at the bottom of the cap. Second pen is one I have spoken about before, which is this. The absolutely gorgeous, I think, Eros. This in yellow lacquer, which I think is wonderful. It goes perfectly with my Apple iMac, which is also a yellow version, because when I was a kid, yellow was my favourite colour. I love this because it's got a really efficient clip, flat top, flat bottom, but it's magnetic. And I think that is just stunning, especially since it has this skirt, which when it's clipped on is completely concealed, and when you post it, same thing happens. Like the other, this looks like a fibre tip pen only, but actually it takes universal standard ink cartridges or cartridge converters. I've used this quite a lot. It is lovely. And then finally, they also sent me this. This is an orange and black Gaia. And I think it's lovely. It has a gunmetal grey clip which fits perfectly onto my shirt pocket or anything else. Holds it really tightly. I love the looks. It's got a very organic feel to it. It has this sort of swelling in the middle here. It has a slightly swollen cap as well. This isn't pull on pull off, this is an unscrew just like a fountain pen, and as you can see inside there, possibly, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but inside there it's got a mini Kaweco cartridge converter because it takes standard international ink cartridges or cartridge converters. So these are the 3 pens that were very generously sent to me by Yookers. Let's have a look at what else I've got here, which gets more interesting. Now, Yookers weren't good enough just to send me the one pen, they also sent me a selection of nibs. So I've got a 0.8 nib, a 1mm nib, a 1.2 and a 1.4. So all I have to do is unscrew this and I can screw on the new nib. But even better than that, I've discovered, is that if you're bone idle like me, you can just unscrew the top section, and I believe these nibs are universal because they fit these other two pens as well, and I assume they probably fit all kinds of others. So it's rather nice to have interchangeable nibs. Jolly good idea, I say. So what I'm going to do is write out a few lines with the different pens and show you what they look like on paper. And because I'm having a certain amount of difficulty today and I'm short of time, I'm going to do this fairly quickly off camera. You'll just have to wait and see what it looks like. First of all, let's get this pen ready. I have to say, I'm intrigued. I'm going to use my Kaweco cartridge converter there, but I suspect that the use of a nice little O-ring would mean you could feasibly use this as an eyedropper, in which case you would have an absolutely stunning amount of ink ready to use. But enough of that, I'm going to fill this first, shove it in here, and we'll have a look and see what it looks like. Now I've just filled this with some writer's blood because basically it was the ink that was most easily available and to hand. I pushed the plunger down a little way. The nib stayed white, but as soon as I touched it on a bit of blotting paper, the ink started flowing. So let's have a... whoops, I won't use that because that's got writing on it. What model is this? This is the Eros. Thought it might be a good idea to demonstrate this, so you can see that the nib currently is plain white. If I push just a little way, you can see the colour changes. All of a sudden it's gone red, like my writer's blood. Beautiful stuff. Now this is the 1mm nib, and I've had it in this pen, the Eros. That's the Eros. These isn't the Eros. This is the Gaia. Blast. Hey ho. But I've had it in this for quite some time now with a blank ink cartridge. So it's going to be interesting to see how much the cartridge is polluted when I put it into this other pen with a different colour ink. So this is the 1mm version of nib, and I think it's going to be writing quite blackly for quite some time. Hold on one second, let's just suck some ink through. You can see here I'm just using some old paper towel and it's starting to go red. All I did was I rinsed it under a water tap. So it's still not entirely happy, but we'll get there. So on to the last one. As you can see, I pushed the cartridge converter nozzle just a little bit more to see what happened, and it did work a lot better. So here we go with the last of them, which is a 0.8mm. So here you go with the 3 pens. I'm afraid I couldn't find a price for this in any UK market, so I don't know how much that will cost. This, the yellow lacquer, is £36, and I think that is staggering good value. I really do. I think that's an astonishingly gorgeous little pen. I love the fact you can just swap out nibs as you decide, and then just write on with them how you want. I really like that. That's gorgeous. This I think is beautiful, and I am very fond of this already. I think it's got staggering good looks. It writes superbly well, no matter which nib. For me, I think I'd probably go with the 1.4 nib as standard. It's larger writing. I have a large hand for writing. It's really clear. It's really good. On the other hand, this 0.8mm could very easily replace any number of my sketching pens. So those 2 nibs are definitely going to be the 2 that I use the most. This is a lovely pen. It feels really good, but I am just addicted to this pen with its magnetic clip. I love that, and I adore the fit and the way that it goes together. And yes, I know I'm a sad old fellow, but I love that colour. I think it really is appealing. Interesting to me that you can definitely change the colours in the nibs. The colour will take a while to come through. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take for that, but I'm not actually that worried. I think that I often used to get different colours in my pens, and it would take a while for the old colour to wash through. That's not something that particularly bothers me. I do like the fact that these are enormously practical, very effective, and great fun to use. So, all in all, what do I think of these pens? Well, I like it, but I'm not likely to keep hold of this. I'm not likely to use it. I think this, with that rather lovely, juicy 1.4mm nib, is going to be a pen that I use a lot. I love the looks. I like the fact it's only quite small, so it is shorter, for example, than a Visconti Breeze, and fits very easily. I don't think you can see that, but it fits very easily in my... I did have a stool round here which I could stand on, but I can't. But anyway, it fits very easily in a shirt pocket. There you go. It fits. Rather more easily actually than my Visconti Breeze does. Alright, no, maybe not. But for general use and sketching, this, I said it before when I was comparing this with the Visconti Breeze, I just love that mechanism. The manufacturing is absolutely fantastic. I think the quality of that pen is fabulous. Are there any issues with these pens? Yes, there's one. If you don't use them for a while and you've got a standard universal ink cartridge loaded in them, then I have found they can dry out and you will get hard starts. But when I say that, I'm actually talking about leaving it for well over a week. I wouldn't expect a fountain pen to give me hard starts that soon, but you've got a fibre tip on these things which realistically I think is working on capillary action. So if you let the nib dry out for a little bit, it will be harder to get it to work again. I've noticed that with the 1mm nib. I don't know whether it'll be the same with the 1.4mm nibs. And if you use a cartridge converter, and the Kaweco is a perfect size for any of these, but I think they should take almost any cartridge converter, well, in that case you're not going to have a problem, because you move the cartridge converter, that'll move the ink through the nib slightly, and all of a sudden you've got a fully functioning pen again. And if you're using it every day, it won't be a problem. One issue I have found with this is that this section can come loose. It's never come adrift, but the screw threads don't seem to want to stay tightened up. So sometimes when you're writing, you can feel that it gets a little bit floppy. Not a major issue. Doesn't really bother me. I just tighten it up when I need to. And it has to be said, just look at that lovely colour. It feels great in the hand. It's a really good size, good weight, and yeah, I love this pen. This I think is also going to be a fairly firm favourite because I love the looks of that. And that's my view of these pens. I think they work stunningly well. So there you have it. Delightful set of pens, really attractive colouring. They write superbly. They've got a massive variety of different nibs. What's not to like, really? So, I hope that was interesting. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget you can hit the subscribe, and then you can hit the bell button for notifications when there's future videos. And if you're interested in joining a Pen Pals Club, the Writerly Witterings Pen Pals Club has an email address down below. All you have to do is send me an email there and I'll send you a link through to the club. And then you can associate yourself with people all over the world who are interested in using their fountain pens to write. And keep the post offices going, which is a pretty good idea, I reckon. So's our local postmaster. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope it was fun, and speak to you soon. Bye bye.